Hello, and welcome to our review of...
The start of Dimension 20's of Mice and Murder.
Yes.
My name is Leland.
I'm Henrik, and this is our first time doing this, so bear with us.
Yeah, we're highly qualified for this.
So, for those of you who do not know, Dimension 20 is a D&D show run by College Humor that generally utilizes like a improv-based cast to create like comedy campaigns for your enjoyment that they put up on their subscription service, which is Dropout. And most recently, they have a season called Mice and Murder, which is a Wind in the Willows murder mystery, like Agatha Christie type campaign. So we will be reviewing the first episode because why not? So yeah, do you want to start out with general impressions of the episode?
It was pretty good as far as openings go. I'm sort of ambivalent one way or the other on the part where it sort of ends.
Yes.
Not necessarily building up to a fight.
Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah, I felt like this episode...
It's nice that it's something different, I guess.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, I felt like this episode was very strong overall. The cast is all very great, and you can, like, tell that, and they all have a bunch of chemistry with each other. And it, like, sets up this really cool...
They've been doing this for a while.
Well, yeah. And it sets up this really cool world and all these really cool, like, character interactions and such. And I wouldn't say, like, it ends on a weak note. It just doesn't end as strongly as you, like, want it to. But, yeah, other than that, I think it's one of the better first episodes.
So, general impression, good.
General impression?
Nice. Okay. Good.
Like, solid 8 out of 10 for me.
I'd probably go with a 7.
7?
I mean, you know, most Dimension 20 is pretty enjoyable.
That's fair. That's fair. If we're bell curving this.
So, as with most first episodes, or probably all of them, we start by going in depth on each of our characters, sort of hopping from scene to scene, and then Brennan draws them all into a central place. Yeah,
so we start out in the church, what is it? The like church of like prayerful powers or something like that, right? And first off, the first character we meet is Gangy Green, played by Katie Maravich, who is like a criminal grave digger / robber weasel, your suspect character right off the bat. She's digging up the dead body that she buried because someone in Loam Hall, which is, you know, the main hub for the murder mystery. Someone in Loam Hall wants the body.
Although actually, Gangy is a he/him, so technically he starts out digging up the body that he already buried.
Yeah, I thought I like Gangy. I feel like of all the characters, Gangy got the least to do. Promising character. I want to see more because I can't say more on that. So then, you know, shortly after that, we meet Vicar Ian Prescott, who is my favorite character. This extremely mediocre priest that is not very good at this job.
Especially, he has nothing to offer the Weeping Widow.
Once again, I feel like these two characters, like, I mean, I think Ian Prescott gets more stuff to do, but it's all, like, they don't feel, like, directly involved with stuff as of yet. But I think I just really enjoy this character. And then we get information about the recent murder of Connor McCabbage, who died in a mill, and there's some suspect of foul play. The widow was like, "Oh, I'm hearing him, and is he trying to tell me something?" Which leads to Ian just rambling about nonsense
in a way that Raph is very good at.
He's very good at it. I love it.
And then they run into Gangy, and they have a cute little scene.
And then we move on to meet 2 more characters, that being Lars Vandenchamp, played by Ali Beardsley, and Sylvester Cross, played by Grant O'Brien.
Our comedy Holmes and Watson duo. Because if we're going to be talking about Victorian England, we have to have one of those.
Oh, of course.
I think it works, though, particularly because, I mean, I like every character that Ali plays, you know that, but
yep.
I think it works because Lars is not just Watson. They're also silly and they're sillier, and they have a ridiculous German accent.
And then so it's like it's a very classic like Holmes and Watson duo, but like Sylvester Cross is a bit more like intuitive than and more feeling than Sherlock Holmes is, and Lars is more of a goofball, and also seems to be like there's like a reason for Lars to be like, it's like in this campaign, at least, like it's not just like, oh, this is like, the normal guy that just kind of follows Sherlock around and records his mystery. Like you can feel like, oh, Lars like actually is like, oh, he's gonna be like chasing the bad guys and whatnot, and can like actually like get in there, which I enjoyed. And we move on to meet the final two, Buxter $Boyd and Daisy.
Best name.
Daisy
Best name. It has $sign in the middle.
These two, yeah, I feel like Buxter and Daisy have the best names of the whole cast.
And they're the Americans.
They're the Americans. They're the Texan, they're Southern, brash Americans.
Texan. He wears a cowboy hat.
He's Texan, but I don't think she's Texan. And yeah, so they have their conversation. They're talking about some sort of business venture that's going to be like they're going to get like a bunch of money from doing something here, which you get like a bit of a hint towards later. We also meet Armand Armadillo, who's one of my favorite NPCs, if only because of his voice. Brennan, I feel like, has upped his voice game this season. Like, I feel like each season he gets like a bit better at the voices. I shouldn't say get better. Maybe he's at the same this whole time, but he like brings kind of more voices out of his bag. But I feel like this season especially, like he's got like a lot of voices, and it's impressive. After meeting all the characters, they all converge on the hall itself, and we get thrust into like a world of a bunch more NPCs, which I mean we don't get too many this episode, but I get the feeling that there'll be more introduced as the murder happens and as you have to go through the suspects. Yeah, so we meet. I think we immediately meet
William Thornwell Brock Hollow.
Oh yes, and the aunt, like the like not the widow, but like the old lady, the Terra one.
Are you thinking of Lucretia?
Yes, Lucretia. And that prompted just a fun scene.
Fully fails to guess his sign like 6 times in a row. It's great.
Oh yeah, it's great. Astrology is dumb.
That's one of the thing. It's a good example of why Brennan's jokes are very funny. He literally reaches over, asks Allie, "What is Lars's sign?" I can't even remember which one they said. I think it was Cancer.
Cancer. I think it was Cancer too. Yeah. And
purely so Brennan can then have Lucretia get it wrong over and over again.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just so many of these characters are just so full of personality already. I just feel like, yeah, because like I feel like sometimes with these campaigns, you get like the one normal-ish character just like for the sake of it being normal. I don't know, like I guess like I can't really think of any examples, but I don't know, it just feels like everyone in this season so far has just popped in a way that was more special. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just really enjoying it thus far. Yeah. So all the characters get together in like the main, except for Gengi, I think, who goes upstairs, right, to get like food or something like that. Yeah, but they all converge and
William Thornwell Brock Hollow.
Yes. Gives this whole speech, I believe intended to like humiliate Sylvester, but then Sylvester gives the money back. And then there's this sequence of like, the flash of the camera and all this stuff. And I thought it was like, it's like, oh, the murder's going to happen any second now. Someone's going to die. And we see like the camera flashes, Mrs. Molesley, who's like the one of the maids, like kind of is like, light. And it's like, it seems to be like leading to something like very crazy. And maybe a crazy thing happened. But instead it ends with Sylvester Cross and Daisy Dumpster spying each other from across the room, with like kind of a definitely one of those looks that exes share, and Daisy looks away first, and then at the end of the episode, we flash back to sometime long before, presumably when Daisy and Sylvester first met, which is like interesting. And it feels like it's a fine way to end episode, but it feels like for the first episode, we needed the murder, you know?
Possibly. I think it's odd. It's odd to end on a flashback,
right?
To end in pre-time, but considering that they were taking a long time through this sequence, I think it's still an okay note to end with the look. I think it would have been stronger to just end with the look and then start with the flashback next round, and then depending on how long you want to draw it out until we start talking about murder.
Right. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. But that's where we end the episode. Any thoughts? Any theories? Any thoughts?
If I weren't reviewing it, I'd continue watching it.
That I would, yeah, I'm going to continue watching it even though I'm reviewing it. I think it's a very solid beginning, and even if it doesn't like quite lead you to, like, I'm not like, immediately like, oh, what's going to happen next? What's the secret backstory between Daisy and Sylvester? Like, I'm not like that question didn't draw me in. I feel like everything else in this episode definitely did. It was like, yeah, I want to see more of this.
There's a lot of flair and style in this.
Yes.
Yeah. So even though we have a bit of a low point on plot here,
it's a low point, like, relatively speaking. It's like, it's still above average for an ending.
Yeah. Here's another way of putting it. If they were all out and like I were considering binging through them, I might consider taking a break or stopping for the day here.
Right. Well, that's our review of Mice and Murder, Episode 1. It was a dark and stormy night. Tune in next week, and hopefully we'll have another one of these. Yay!